TLDR, I don't want to be fetishized by my boyfriend but don't want to shame him for being more sexually open with me. We've been together for a little over a year now and it's been going well. We met at college through a club and hit it off then. Reconnected a couple years later. He's always been really kind to me and gives me compliments all the time and we generally have fun together. We've been quarantining together and have been having a lot of sex, which I love, but it's been getting a little weirder, I guess. He sends me a lot of hentai and says he wants to try things out that are depicted in it, which is fine. But he's also been buying me outfits, which I do appreciate, and they're very much like anime themed. Japanese schoolgirl, cat girl costume, etc. etc. I know he's being more open sexually with me, but it all feels kind of gross. Like he wants me to do all of these things because I'm Asian? Anyway, the other night he asked me to act cuter in the bedroom and to speak Japanese to him in bed. I was really offended by this because while I'm Asian I'm not Japanese. I'm Taiwanese, but born and raised here in America. I firmly told him no and the night went on all right, but he was a little quiet afterwards, like I'd scolded him. I don't think he means anything weird by it, but I want to tell him I'm not okay with the things he's been doing, but also I don't want to shame him for being more open sexually with me. I just want to feel like he wants to be intimate with me and not with Asian girl number 7, if that makes sense. I don't know how to explain this to him though.
And GT, I don't know how to explain this to him though? You've explained it well enough to us, so use that as a basis. Explain what makes you uncomfortable and why. Turn it into an open conversation.
Was the club anime club?
And GT, I want to tell him I'm not okay with the things he's been doing, then do. Tell him about how you feel, using I statements and not attacking him, and any natural shame he feels will not be your fault. It is totally normal to feel shame when you cause emotional harm to those you love. He can't avoid that shame. Let him know where your boundaries are, and maybe send him some information to read about fetishization, what it is and why it's harmful, because he might not even understand the impact that he's having on you. However he responds to this will be a good indicator for whether or not you should continue the relationship.
You probably won't see this, but my ex was like this. We're both white and when we met we were both into anime, but as I got older my interest in it faded while his only intensified. When we broke up he got heavily into weeb culture. We were still friends at the time, so I would go to cons with him occasionally, and I can say that there is a substantial portion of white men who are into weeb stuff that are incredibly racist. Not all are, of course. Please don't come at me with that, not all men. Discourse. Being white, I guess these dudes felt comfortable saying racist stuff around me, and holy moly was the racial fetishization of Asian women rampant within my ex's circles. I am going to go out on a limb and say that your boyfriend would probably fit in with them, and that is it not kink shaming to feel uncomfortable or otherwise offended by his behavior. Kinks always operate with consent between 2 or more parties, and if your boyfriend is fetishizing you without your consent, you are not shaming him, you're setting a boundary. Please don't feel bad about feeling uncomfortable or angry at your boyfriend's behavior. It's dehumanizing and disrespectful and you deserve better op.
I was literally waiting for the part where you weren't Japanese. Look, if he's pushing this on you and even using Japanese fucking words to describe how he wants you to act, it's too late. You're already the fetish and it's going to overrun most, if not all, things between you guys. I don't say this to be shitty and hyperbolic. I'm half Chinese and one of my exes used to tell everyone I was Japanese because it was his thing. The Caucasian. I can only suggest, and pray for you that he'll understand, that you have a talk with him about what it means to be racially fetishized and how dehumanizing it is and how horrible it is for you to have to act Japanese for him in those stupid anime costumes, and maybe explain some history of how the Japanese treated the rest of Asia and why it's actually fucking insulting that he does that given the atrocities that Japan committed, and straight up how weird it is that he can't separate Taiwan from Japan. Like, yeah, you were born here, but you're also 27. Don't let some weeaboo try to make you into someone you aren't. This isn't kink shaming, this is him being straight up racist.
This is not shaming, it sounds like he is using you for his fetish, although I can't know if that was his intent for the relationship in the first place, or if it is overflowing from his fantasy and he wants to try stuff, while genuinely caring for you. Have a talk with him, make your boundaries clear, tell him this makes you uncomfortable. If he cares for you, he'll accept it or admit that it's a kink but he can't help it, in which case therapy ASAP, or if unwilling, end it. Anything else would suggest he cares only for his kawaii ideas. If so, I'd wonder if he brags about you online, posts pictures etc.
I resist kink shaming, but race play is a step too far for me. Recreating racism in the bedroom is not the trajectory I'm looking for, and the kind of white person that wants that is suspect IMHO. Maybe that makes me a prude.
And GT, I'm Taiwanese lol. Say bye, that's so rude. He's literally going East Asia equals hentai girl. Edit. Get off my back man. I made this comment assuming she'd already talked to him about it.
As a Hispanic, I have to say your boyfriend is oblivious to etiquette when regarding and respecting other people's culture. If you call a Puerto Rican a Mexican, it can be considered highly offensive. You say you're Taiwanese yet he's pushing his Japanese obsession on you like you're a second-rate fantasy girl. This is out of line, and if you aren't comfortable with it he has to accept that fact and stop it. This skewed perception he has of you needs to be corrected, so I recommend you expose him to some culture from Taiwan and teach him what it's about. Seriously, if he's sour about it, don't feel bad because it's not right he's using you for kicks to satisfy his Japanese fetish. Don't let up until you hear him say "gomenasai" or "I'm sorry." Flip the script. Buy him a clip-on tie and nerd glasses and tell him you want more Dwight in the bedroom. Or pair of overalls, a prop banjo and some chewing on grass or hay, and tell him you want more "hear ha" action when the lights go out. An amp, #X200B, boundaries are hard. If you are assertive and he acts scolded, then that's just manipulation or a natural response to boundaries where there weren't any before. Give him a chance to come around as you create stronger boundaries. Or get more comfortable with his resistance. An amp, #X200B, bottom line, though, if it feels awkward in the bedroom, you shouldn't have to be engaging in it. Consent can be given and taken away just as fast. It's always your right to change your mind.